Thank you for listening to this Podcast One production. Available on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You've made it through another week. I barely made it through the week, but I'm here along with that guy. That's Tim Dennis. I'm Dave Schrader, your raspy-voiced lead singer for today's Band Mash. Band Mash, Tim. Maybe that should be the name of our band. What do you think? Band Mash?
If you add potatoes on the end, sure.
Yeah, that's too Edie. Edie?
Edie?
Is that a word? Edie? Anyway, we are the best at Paranormal Talk Radio. Although the start of the show may make you question that, just hang with us because we've got cool stuff to share. Tomorrow we're going to be having some guests live from the Chicago Paracon, so we'll be talking and getting some cool stories. I hope you guys will tune in for that. We'll get some very good, popular celebrity guests that'll be popping by and visiting with us. But today we've got supernatural news, we've got some Parashare, and believe it or not, we've got some phone calls, Tim.
We do. We have phone calls. Yeah.
Voices from Beyond phone call line. You can give us a buzz, 651-300-4977. Call in, share your stories with us. Any kind of supernatural stories. Bigfoot, aliens, psychic phenomena. Did you play with a Ouija board and have a creepy experience? We want to know about it. If you've seen a ghost, an angel, a demon, we want to hear about it. So give us a call and tell us your story at 651-300-4977. But where shall we begin this week's journey into the weird world of the supernatural news?
We're starting right here in our own backyard, Dave. We're starting right here in Minnesota, where a family of 7 has been discovered living in a Dutch farm cellar for years, waiting for the world to end, Dave. I don't know how to put this to people. I'm going to try and be nice about this. I'm going to try to be as gentle and as sweet as I possibly can.
I already sense that's not going to happen. But go on.
I do get wound up kind of easily these days. I don't know why. It's just my nature. Maybe I'm becoming a cantankerous old man. But here's the deal. Live your life. Just go out and live your damn life. Don't get all wound up and put yourself in a cellar. With that being said, I guess we're going to the Netherlands. Authorities in the Netherlands have launched a major investigation after an apparent family of 7 was discovered living in the basement of an isolated farm, allegedly waiting for the end of time. You don't need to do this, people. Police in Drenthe.
Wait a minute. I thought you said this was right here in our backyard in Minnesota.
It was misleading because it comes from Fox 9 News here in the Twin Cities.
Oh, okay. So the story starts from Minnesota because that's who reported it. But the story actually takes place over the Netherlands. Yeah. And you're saying stop worrying about the end of the world as we know it. Just live life to the fullest. Don't be in a cellar.
Right. Just feel fine, like REM says. Even though it's the end of the world as we know it, Dave, just feel fine. Just go out and live it. Just live the life. Just trip the light fantastic. Just go nuts. Doesn't matter.
All right, but what about this crazy clan in the Netherlands, Tim?
Well, police in Drenthe said on Twitter that someone reported they were worried about the living conditions of people who were living in an enclosed space on a farm located just outside the town of Runervold. Runervold, Dave. I don't know if you've ever been there before. It's quite lovely.
I have not, but I'm thinking of buying a nice little cabin in Runervold. I hear there's a new big Dutch colonial house that's available with roomy basement space.
It's not quite roomy. There's 7 people in there, Dave.
Not anymore, Tim. They've been liberated, I believe.
Well, let's find out. When police went to the home on the farm on Monday, they discovered 6 adults aged 18 through 25 inside. Evidently, they had a long way to go to wait for the end of the world. And a 58-year-old man who didn't have that much time to wait, who did not want to cooperate with the investigation and was subsequently arrested. It's unclear what relationship exactly the 58-year-old held with the others. Evidently, they had the good weed and he was looking for it. But some reports describe them as family. They were family, Dave. They had all their sisters and him. Just saying.
More 70s musical lyrics that you're throwing our way, huh?
Yes, it is. All scenarios are still open. Our research is in full swing, and we cannot share more information at this time. That was the statement from police there in Runervold. The farm is located there in Runervold, a town in the northern Netherlands that has about 4,000 residents, about 80 miles northeast of Amsterdam. Ooh, so you're 80 miles away from the Amsterdam there, Dave, where you can get the good weed.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they were more of a hashish kind of place, Amsterdam.
You can get everything there, Dave. Everything. Really? They got the red light districts. They got the mushrooms. They got the hashish. They got the good weed. They got anything. You name it. I'm just saying. You could probably you can probably even get rid of that throat condition you got going there. Just saying. The farm was on the outskirts of the village known as Berghuizen, which is less than 200 people and where they lived, according to Dutch newspaper Dagblad van het Noorden, which I get on my on my doorstep 5 a.m. every day. Dagblad van het Noorden.
How do you even get out of your door with all the newspapers that are laying on your doorstep?
With a shovel.
Oh.
Yeah, nice big deep shovel I use normally for snow, but I use it for newspapers every day as well. Mayor Roger de Groot, he is Groot, by the way, said Tuesday in a short statement the family is believed to have lived for 9 years on the farm and that authorities found a number of improvised rooms where a family lived a withdrawn life. He added, "I've never seen anything like it." The discovery was made after the 58-year-old man's possible son here is underlined, age 25, walked from the farm to a pub in Runervold, where he was completely confused and police were called. Was that before or after he was drinking at the pub? This is what I want to know. The owner
Does it really matter?
I don't know. The owner of the pub, Chris Westerbeek, told Dagblad van het Noorden, again, my favorite name for a newspaper ever, the young man looked unkempt with long hair and said he needed help and had never been to school. Again, the man is 25 years old.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. He said he needed help and wanted to put an end to the situation he was in. This according to Westerbeek. The 25-year-old added he slipped away at night because it was not possible during the day and that he could not go back to where he came from. When police went to the farm, they discovered a staircase to the basement behind a cupboard in the living room of the home. The group lived in the space and had no contact with the outside world, according to the television station. The 6 younger members of the group reportedly had no idea there were other humans out in the world. You gotta love it. Apparently, a family was hiding here, waiting for the end of time, located on a canal a few kilometers outside the village. Plenty of research. We are kept at a distance. This is from an article. It says #bizarre, #Runervold. A neighbor told Dagblad van het Noorden, again, my favorite newspaper ever, he only saw one man on the farm at all times and was totally surprised at the news of the discovery. I am shaking on my legs, he told the newspaper. A large investigative team, TGO, is currently investigating the situation at a home in Runervold. The farm had a huge vegetable garden and many sheds, but was described as rather messy, according to the newspaper. RTV reported the family was completely self-sufficient, living off the vegetable garden and a goat.
Just one goat? Fed them all?
Just one goat, Dave.
Sounds like a line from the Lord of the Rings, and one goat shall feed them all.
And it did for quite some time.
Yeah.
Police said Tuesday afternoon on Twitter, a large investigative team remains at the home and is investigating the situation. So there you go. One goat, Dave, shall feed them all, and a large vegetable garden. I got to ask you, how long do you live off veggies and a goat?
Not long, because once the goat has eaten the veggies and I've eaten the goat, I'm pretty much done. I'm guessing day 2, out looking for a McRib.
Okay, so you've brought up a major pet peeve of mine now. And that is a closed circuit to McDonald's. And I'm going to make this short and sweet. This is our plea from Beyond the Darkness. We think we are a fairly powerful paranormal show here in the Twin Cities metro area, and we don't understand why you can't have 2 stores in the Twin Cities metro area that carry McRib. You got it in Wisconsin. You got it in Illinois. You got it in Iowa. You even got it in North and South Dakota. But you can't have... Yes.
Wait, what?
Yes. But you...
Wait, what?
Yes. Out there in the plains where nobody lives. But you can't put 2 GD stores in the North and South metro that have McRib. What is wrong with you people? 14,000 stores have McRib, none of them in the North and South metro. I'm saying to you, McDonald's, you have a pretty powerful paranormal show here with a lot of listeners.
Who, they're being swayed. I get letters every day. They're like, you know what? I had to laugh. I hear you and Tim rant about the lack of McRibs, but now I want one because I keep hearing you guys talk about I want one.
See?
I need to try one. And we're just doing our best. But you know what? They don't care.
See, McDonald's, see what we can do. Now imagine if we take that power and put it on the internet. All 6 people on the internet are going to revolt, McDonald's.
I will have them know I have tens of listeners around the world, Tim. Tens of listeners.
Well, I got
follow me on the social medias, Tim. And I'm willing to share my love of the McRib if they set me up.
I got 2, and I'm still hoping one wants to have my baby. So I'm just,
wow.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
People still need to reach out to Tim. Apparently, he's willing to seed your loins. You can contact him at his phone number 612.
Dave. I think we established this last week.
I forgot. Yeah. All right, sorry, I'm getting old. I'm just so tired and worn out.
I know.
My voice is shot. I'm not going to do much reading this week, Tim, because
I know, buddy. Yeah.
Voice is done. And I've got to still be able to do a live event. I'm very excited. By the time you guys are listening to this, something corny has happened to me that I'm very excited about. We are recording this on Wednesday. It's airing on Saturday. Thursday, I got invited back to my old high school to do a talk on the paranormal for students and parents, and had a great time, I'm sure. It's not exactly Thursday yet. It's Wednesday. But using my power of psychic premonition, Tim, I'm so excited about getting this opportunity, which is cool to see. They've sent me a picture of the marquee outside.
Oh, yeah.
With a night of a haunting night with Dave Schrader on their marquee. It's pretty cool. Weird little thing in life. I'm on TV. I'm on a long-running radio show. I hosted Coast to Coast AM, and the fact that I'm on the Lake Park East Campus, not even both campuses, just one campus, freshman and sophomore building, on their marquee is like one of my highlights of my life, Tim.
Can I offer a little bit of advice here to you as well?
I wish you would.
Get that throat real healthy, because at the deep baritone you're at right now, you take that into the high school and you find yourself a cute teacher, you're going to end up with another kid. You
say I'm I've got the alluring voice going right now.
Yes, you do. You're kind of turning me on right now there, Tiger. I'm just saying, you walk into that high school, you find yourself a cute teacher, and
I don't. I've got a beautiful wife.
I know you do. I'm just saying they're not going to be able to resist. You might be able to, but you might be nailed down to a teacher's desk and unable to fight your way out.
I'll be kind of sexual chocolate, is what you're saying?
Yes, indeed.
You did it an hour?
Yeah.
All right, here's an email. Matt from Texas writes in, I've got a story from my big brother. He starts it off, though. Hi, Dave and Tim. I forgot that part, Tim.
Hiya.
Because it was in the subject line, not in the bulk of the letter itself. So he does address us in proper order. Hi, Dave and Tim.
Hiya.
Matt from Texas, I got a story from my big brother. He said our grandfather, who used to live down south in Falfurrias, Texas. That sounds like a BS name to me. There's no place called Falfurrias.
That sounds like a Lord of the Names ring, or Lord of the Rings name. Yeah, Lord of the Names ring. Yes,
Thank you, Yoda.
Yeah, exactly.
Lived down south in Falfurrias, Texas. Was walking to town for some reason as he passed a cemetery. He saw a man standing in front. He called out to my grandfather, asking him if he would pass a message on to his family. My grandfather agreed, as it was a little ways back when this was more of a common thing. He asked their name and the message. He told my grandfather that he wanted them to know that he was doing fine and not to worry. When my grandfather got to town, he took care of his business there and then and went to pass on the message. He found the family, and as he told them, a woman broke down crying after the father explained to my grandfather that their son had died a couple of years ago. Wow.
Jeez.
It's pretty cool. Falfurrias, Texas is fraught with phantoms. Try to say that 5 times fast, Tim.
Fafooey. I can't. Yeah.
You didn't even get it out once.
No.
Falfurrias, Texas is filled with funky phantoms. I don't remember what I was supposed to say.
No.
Here you go. I'll share my story about a demon I experienced with you. This is continuing on from Matt. He says, when I was a young teenage guy, I was giving my mother all kinds of grief, making her job as a parent much harder than it really needed to be. I'm the type to try and push the limits to see how far I could get away with things, and I was, let's just say, getting away with a lot of stuff and putting a strain on my poor mother. Well, I had a dog named Chia who slept in my bed. In the morning, mother would let her out, and when she got let back in, she would take her paws and place them on my back to let me know she wanted to jump back up on the bed. I usually slept with my back toward the door, so I couldn't see her when she came back. So I'm laying there half asleep, and all of a sudden, I think at first I feel paws. Then I realize I can feel 5 digits against my back with very sharp nails. I'm paralyzed a little and I'm trying to understand what's happening when the nails slowly and gently rake themselves down my back. This demon, my phone number. Hey, Beelzebub, this guy likes a good back scratching. I lay there for a long time trying to register what happened. Later asking my parents questions, then eventually apologizing to my mother, and have to learn the Lord's Prayer to get to sleep the next few nights. Okay, the last one I have. I was in my 20s, I think, and I had been in a really foul mood and was looking to get in all kinds of trouble. I was in one of those dark moods when you're depressed and you just want to feed all kinds of bitter desires. So I work at night. And I was exhausted. I ended up crashing hard on my armchair when I started having this dream where I can feel I'm not myself. In the dream, I have a curtain in my room that separates my long room into sections. Well, whatever I am in the dream, I can see myself sleeping from the armchair from the other side of the curtain as my fan blows it aside. The thing is, the thing I am in this dream, I can feel hates me beyond what I can fathom. It's as if every single fiber of its being wanted to see me suffer in anguish. I start to awake, slowly regaining consciousness, and as I do, I can hear a whisper, as though something were trying to whisper dark ideas into my mind as I slept. That gave me pause for thought, and I decided I had to get my life back right with God. I think the dream might have been a little glimpse behind the evil. Love y'all. Hope you I hope all good things find you, and that comes from Matt in Texas. Thanks, Matt from Texas.
Yeah.
Weird stories.
Very much so, yeah.
Could really go for some light, gentle demon back scratching right now, Tim.
Oh, that would sound so good.
Man, my back is itchy. All right, where are we off to next in supernatural news?
The Crescent Hotel there in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. It is a haunted hotel that may have a portal to the other side, at least reportedly. The 1886 Crescent Hotel and Spa in Eureka Springs, Arkansas is said to be one of the most haunted hotels in America, and over the years, many guests have reported ghost sightings and other paranormal activity, a fact that was known to Marty and Elise Ronig as they bought the hotel in 1997. As a result, the Ronigs hired 2 certified mediums to do a reading of the building. The mediums found that the hotel showed signs of being a portal to the other side, as in a dimension that holds the spirits of the dead and can be accessed by those on the same frequency as ghosts. But just why is a supposed portal to the other side located inside a hotel? Well, according to legend, in 1937, radio personality and inventor Norman G. Baker bought the building and housed a hospital. There he treated cancer patients despite lacking any training, and as a result, many allegedly people died. That's a great line, by the way.
Journalism 105.
Yes, you're going to write about a journalist. You might as well slaughter the English language. The apparent.
May I just stop for a second and say how excited I am by the thought that being a radio personality, perhaps we can open up our own hospital, Tim.
Oh, yes, that would be great. Yeah.
I didn't know that's all it took was the desire to open up your own hospital and treat people.
Yep. And you can use some radio waves to treat them as well.
And you've been preparing people on social media for it for years, because on Twitter, you're Dr. Tim Dennis, Dr. Tim Dennis.
Yes, I am. I'm Dr. Tim Dennis.
Yeah.
You would be amazed how many people think that that's what that means. And I tell them, no, it means Darkness Radio, Tim Dennis.
I make mine very clear. Darkness Radio Dave is the way to usually find me, or just Darkness Radio, because if I put DR Dave, everybody would be like, oh, he thinks he's a doctor of spookology.
No.
Why did I sound like kind of like a slowed down version of Jesse Ventura there?
That was kind of good.
He thinks he's a slowed down doctor of spookology.
Let me tell you something, McMahon.
Sorry, I took you off course. Anyway, you're back on.
Okay, back on here. As a result, many allegedly people died. Allegedly. The apparent portal in the Crescent Hotel is located on top of what used to be the morgue of that hospital. Since then, many guests have booked a stay at the haunted hotel and have experienced many classic signs that a place is haunted. People have reported seeing the ghosts of Baker's patients, as well as... And evidently Baker wasn't a good doctor then, as well as that of Morris, a beloved cat that used to live in the hotel and is buried behind it, evidently from eating too much cat food. You can get that 70s reference as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because of these sightings, as well as the findings of mediums hired by the Ronigs, the Crescent Hotel hosts ghost tours every night for guests who want to brave staying overnight in one of the country's haunted hotels. I believe there's a second page here. I'm just checking to see if there is, but otherwise that looks like that's the.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's the abrupt endings and incorrect typography.
Yeah, you got to love it.
I like that. I'm adding my new words to the thing.
Typography.
You got to know how to do typography if you're going to write out an article is which to post on the internets.
Typography is a word. It's just not applied correctly there. So there.
I know. That's what I was saying. I've kind of inserted it my way.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
Brats, I've had a few. All right.
We move on to Baltimore, where a huge cigar-shaped object with spheres circling it is seen hovering over Baltimore.
So it's creating a phallic symbol in the air. Giant phallic UFO followed by two ball UFO.
Yes. I believe they called it a huge cock and balls over Baltimore. The witness claimed to have seen several of the cylinder-shaped objects in the sky over several hours. I believe the witness was named Dr. Phallic.
Shut up.
Could have been a strange craft shaped like a cylinder with spheres circling it has apparently been caught on camera hovering in the skies above Baltimore, Maryland. The footage begins. I feel like I'm being pranked here. Where's Ashton Kutcher when you need him? The footage begins with the camera.
Do you ever really need Ashton Kutcher?
Well, I'm just saying. I think there's a camera around here somewhere. The footage begins with the cameraman exclaiming he is filming a UFO over Baltimore, which is huge. It's huge, Dave. It's a huge cylindrical object flying in the sky with spheres all around it. 2 to be exact. At first, it seems a black object is circular, but it begins to move past the screen. Its true shape becomes apparent. And it grows, Dave. It grows.
So it's a grower, not a shower UFO.
That's right. According to the witness, a white sphere was going around the crane at the same time, but that isn't shown in the video. He also said there were several cylinder objects in the sky before he started recording. They went up and down, in and out of the clouds, Dave. And sometimes disappearing only to reappear again.
Do you think this alien was from the Uranus aspect of the planets?
I think
what?
I think it was. Yes. Yeah. It just went in and out and up and down and just
in and out and in and out. Sounds like you're doing a little Who tribute there.
Daddy's got a squeeze box and Mama never sleeps at night. The unnamed onlookers stopped recording to pick up his mom, but then came across the site again about an hour later. You got to take care of business, buddy. That's all there is to it. On the way back, we noticed 2 of the 3 crafts, but they were much further away, he added. YouTube conspiracy channel The Hidden Underbelly 2.0 shared the footage yesterday after the sighting was reported to the Mutual UFO Network. That looks like a cigar, one user wrote. And then Freud then added, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Another believer commented, it looks almost segmented, but others were less convinced, with a third suggesting it was a Goodyear blimp. And some simply criticized the quality of the footage, which made it impossible to work out what it was. It comes amid a huge rise in sightings of snake-like UFOs across the UFOs in recent months. I have no idea what that line means. Daily Star Online recently revealed new footage from Florida, which appeared to show the UFO glowing in the sky. A professor told Daily Star Online that he believed such objects could be a hybrid sea, land, and aircraft developed by the U.S. Air Force. So there you go.
Yeah. The plot thickens.
As
does Dave's waistline, but no thanks to the McRib, which I can't find.
Yeah, if you were to go on a McRib diet, you would starve to death right now.
I'm planning on it. I'm going on a McRib diet, but I'm driving through Wisconsin to Illinois for this weekend's conference.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, if you're in the Illinois area, check out ChicagoHauntings.com. We have a paranormal conference we're at all weekend. Tim and I will be there together wherever we go. So make sure you come on out and say hi to us. There's tickets still available. And that's at ChicagoHauntings.com. Hey, Tim.
Yes.
We got a phone call. Somebody was brave enough to hear our plea, and they've actually called in with a story. Shall we play it?
Oh, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Voices from Beyond voicemail.
Hey, Dave and Tim, this is Corey again. I was your lone caller last week. One of the stories that I was wanting to share with y'all was when I worked at the hospital, it was set up into 2 sides. There was the east building and the west building. The east and the west were only connected by a tunnel that was on the first floor. The fire alarms were the main panel for it was in the eastern building. So if there was a fire alarm in the middle of the night, the guard, which is what I was, would have to run down from wherever he was at to the main panel and then announce over the intercom where the smoke or the fire was at so that the other hospital workers would know and we could wait on the fire department to come and clear it. Because the hospital was empty at the time, aside from the old emergency room being converted into a clinic and the 3rd floor on the west building being a mental health floor. Other than that, the entire building was empty. It was used for storage and just empty rooms. One night, the phone at the front door rings, which connected directly to the guards, and it was a family trying to find their daughter, who they said had a baby in room 215. Well, I knew that room 215 was not a labor room, even at the working hospital in that town where there actually was rooms in use. So I go down, I talk to the family, explain to them where they need to go, that they probably have the room number wrong, and go back inside the building. About 20 minutes later, the fire alarm starts to ring. I run down to the main panel, and it shows it's on the 2nd floor of the east building. where the 200 numbered rooms would have been at one point in time. I run upstairs to check the area, waiting on the fire department, and the alarm that it showed on the panel would have been about halfway down the hallway. And I get up there, and I'm in the area, and the nurse's call light in room 215 was on. And like I said, that whole hallway was nothing but storage and empty rooms. I opened the door. It's literally just stacked to the ceiling with empty hospital beds that haven't been used since probably the early 90s. Go back downstairs, went on the fire department. They walk inside. We're going upstairs. They got their heat sensing a gun to make sure there's no fire in the walls or the ceiling or anything. And walking around, and there's an old office that was right across the hall from 215. The telephone in there starts to ring. I use my key to unlock the door. Fire department looks inside. Nothing. The phone is still ringing. It's an old phone, like an old rotary style phone, except instead of the spinner on it, it's got push buttons, but it's the rotary style looking phone. I pick up the receiver. Line's dead. There's not even a dial tone. One of the firemen reaches around me and picks up the phone. It's not even plugged into a phone line. There's no other phone in the room. There's no other phones ringing in that hallway. The fireman that picked up the phone turned and looked at me, threw the phone down, and says, "We're getting out of here. See you later, bye." They could not have gotten out of that building fast enough to get back to their truck to go back to their fire station. I have no idea exactly what was going on, obviously. The nurses that were up there walking around with me, who came from the mental health floor to be nosy and look at the cute firemen, were scared. And end of that story, I get downstairs and I call the guard at the other hospital to see if the family I spoke to had made it to the hospital, just out of curiosity, because they had been asking about the same room where the fire alarm had been ringing and the nurse's call button. He says that there had been no children born that night on the labor ward or that day, and tells me that he had been outside the parking lot for the last 2 hours and had not seen any cars come in or out of the parking lot during that time frame, matching what I had explained to him the family's vehicle looked like. Were they ghosts? I don't know. Was it just a weird occurrence? I'm not sure, because going back and looking at hospital records, there had never been a fire in room 215. I'm sure there was somebody had died in room 215 at some point in time, because it's a hospital. It's inevitable. But we could never figure out what the connection was between the fire alarm and the family I had spoken to in the parking lot, if there was any. Was it paranormal? Like I said, I'm not sure, but it was definitely weird, and it creeped me and the rest of the staff out for several weeks. Keep up the good work on the show, and I'll call back next week with another story. Bye.
Excellent. See how easy that is, kids? Just call the number, 651-300-4977, 651-300-4977. Did I mention the number, Tim? It's 651-300-4977. You can share your paranormal encounters with us right here on the show. We will highlight you, and you will receive a virtual hug from Tim and I. Tim, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's send him one right now. Thanks for that call. Tim, let go now. Tim.
No,
Tim,
what?
You're doing the long virtual hug. It's very awkward.
But it's so comfy.
Oh. All right, where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
We're going to the world of Hollywood, Dave, where our good friend Zach Baggins is dipping back into the pocketbook again.
God, this guy's pocketbooks are deep.
They're very deep,
like
Dave.
Loch Ness.
They are. They're hugely deep. Hugely, Dave. Hugely. Although what he wants to buy may not be for sale. And what he wants to buy may not be conventional. He wants to buy John Wayne Gacy's brain, Dave, after holding it in his hands.
I wonder if it's spreadable on Ritz crackers. Maybe chicken and a biscuits would be better with it. I don't know. What exactly do you serve with serial killer brains?
I think you were on with it with the chicken and a biscuit. I think
everything tastes better on a chicken and a biscuit and a Ritz.
Yeah, with the saltiness and the chickeny flavor with the brainy material, I think you pretty much...
brainy material.
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it right there.
You won't ever find in a McRib, unfortunately.
Oh, you will occasionally. I mean,
stop it.
Yeah, I mean,
you're going to screw up our advertising deal with them. All right, okay. What else is going on?
Well, Dave, this is creepy, even for Zach Baggins. We got to admit it. I'm not saying Zach is creepy. This is just what it says in the article.
You heard it, Tim.
No.
Or you heard it, Zach.
Tim
thinks you're creepy.
No, I don't. I think
Tim thinks you're creepy.
No, I think I'm just reading straight from TMZ.com. I think Zach's a wonderful person. He got his hands on John Wayne Gacy's brain just for a short time, a brain that he wants to buy, and he says he could sense the evil that consumed the serial killer just by touching it. The Ghost Adventure star tells TMZ that he held Gacy's brain in his hands during a recent trip to the Chicago home where the late serial killer's forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Helen Morrison, keeps the organ. Not the one you play, but actually John Wayne Gacy's brain, which is preserved in a container in her basement. Gacy, infamously known as the Killer Clown, was executed way back in 1994 after being convicted of murdering 33 young men and boys during the 1970s, burying most of the bodies in a crawl space under his Chicago area home. Zach says he will never ever forget what it felt like as he cradled Gacy's brain in the palm of his hand. He said it was pure evil.
A song by U2 back in the 80s, Cradling Gacy's Brain?
I believe it was, yeah. You just heard the ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding of Edge's guitar, and then it was Cradling Gacy's brain in my hand. Yeah, it was kind of a weird song. It was a B-side, I believe, of one of their more popular songs.
Helter Skelter?
Yes.
Charles Manson stole it from the Beatles. We're stealing it back. I don't know why I'm doing it in a Liverpudlian accent, because I think they're Irish.
Yeah, they are. They're Irish, yeah. Baggins added that he was shaking as he held Gacy's brain in the palm of his hand, and definitely was spooked at best. Serial killers are kind of Zach's thing, if you don't know that by now. And if you haven't tuned in to any of Ghost Adventures programming in October, he's got tons of Charles Manson's items in his haunted museum. He made a play to Dr. Morrison to sell him that brain, but surprise, surprise, Dr. Morrison turned him down. Flat. I mean, just flat out turned him down. Dr. Morrison has owned the brain ever since it was sliced up during Gacy's autopsy and claims she feels his spirit following her. And she wouldn't want to be left alone, Dave, so no sale. That's exactly why Zach wants to buy it. He wants Gacy's spirit around him and to do further research at his haunted museum. Zach's not the only celeb interested in Gacy's brain. It turns out that, yes, Khloe Kardashian, who can't seem to get a man, once played with it on her reality show and once...
Was she going to try it on to see what it's like to have one?
I think so, yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes,
you can direct your hate mail to go screw you, I don't like the Kardashians at gmail.com.
So Khloe, who wants to finally get a man and keep one, wants Gacy for herself. And, but only Zach, it says here is... This is what the article says, Zach. The article says that Zach is crazy enough to want to bring home a piece of Gacy. I get the reason why Zach wants to bring Gacy to the museum. Huge draw to have not only John Wayne Gacy's paintings, but to have a piece of his brain right there next to Charles Manson's. There's a bit of, isn't it, his dentures, and there's, I think, some
bone
of his ashes.
Fragments.
Oh, bone fragments.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's like a tooth and some bone fragments from his ashes. You know what? If you are kind of haunting your body parts, do you really want to put two notorious psychopaths that close together in the spirit realm?
It kind of fits. It fits the theme.
I know that, but I mean, I'm saying, looking to possibly unleash the holy hell team, to unleash holy hell in the spirit realm, bringing those two spirits together. What if they start working together in conjunction, Bonnie and Clyde style, from the afterlife?
there's already such a palpable energy there, though. So I think, what's one more? I think
that kind of thinking that's going to cause the end of the world, Tim. Nice job.
I get. You may think this is crazy, but I get where Zach's coming from. I mean,
I get it as a marketing standpoint. Sure.
Yeah.
I still think it's bad to bring two horrible human being spirits together in one place. Just seems like a bad idea. What next? Bundy's sunglasses? Oh shit, he has those too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he has them.
And David Koresh's car. This place is going to be like serial killer spirit haven. Everybody's going to be hanging out there, Tim.
Yep.
Zessing and oppressing.
Yep.
Oof. All right.
Yeah.
Well, is that the end of that story?
That's the end of that story.
Okay. If you say so, Tim, I'll take your word for it. I mean, you're sure that's it?
That is it. That is it for that one.
Since you're done with that story, let me tell you this story, Tim. How about the story of Pluto TV saving the world as we know it? Well, at least saving, in some instances, hundreds of dollars. I gave up DirecTV, Tim. I'm leaning on Pluto TV now because it's the leading free streaming television service. We just moved from our old house into our new house, literally across the street, and we decided to cut the bonds. We didn't want to be tied to a service anymore. And Pluto TV is one that we've been using at our house, and I find that we spend most of our time checking out Pluto TV for movies and TV anyway. So why continue to pay $200 a month for cable when I get over 100 TV channels, thousands of movies, all on demand, all for free? I didn't need a credit card. There's no sign up. And that's not because I'm Dave Schrader from the Holzer Files or from Darkness Radio. That's not why I'm getting that special service. Tim gets it too.
Yeah.
And he's not on the Holzer Files. Well, he's on Darkness Radio, but that's still neither here nor there. You, the good people of this planet, can get Pluto TV for free. No credit card, no sign up. Pluto TV is easy, and it's a completely legal way to watch your favorite TV shows and hit movies. What are you waiting for? Never pay for TV again. I know I won't. Download Pluto TV for free on all of your favorite devices. Your phone, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, smart TVs, PlayStations, hell, anywhere that you stream, get Pluto TV today. All right, Tim, where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
We're going to Argentina, Dave, where a woman was...
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Is supposed to have been in Myrtle. That's all she asks for. Not much to ask for. That's the Chicago version of Evita that I was a part of, Tim.
Yeah, it was highly successful.
Yeah, that was one of the breakout songs what I had when I was living in Chicago, Tim.
Yeah, it was.
Sometimes Chicago accent still slips out. I wonder if it will after this weekend. I noticed I did an interview last week on TV, and at one point all of a sudden the Chicago came out of me.
Uh-oh.
You know, like, yeah, I've been doing it for a while. And I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Vinny Bum Boots or whatever's coming through me at that moment. But all right, I digress. Go back.
No,
Your story.
That's
what, Tim?
Yeah, it's nice for you to revisit the Chicago dinner theater days every once in a while. Yeah, it's
right.
Nice.
For me, Argentina, you're supposed to been a Myrtle. That's all she wanted. Not much to ask for.
I'm looking forward to the reunion days when you and Coach Ditka get together and redo Evita. Yeah,
we are going to be hanging out with Coach this weekend. He's going to be at the Chicago Con, not Ditka, but our version of Ditka. Coach is going to be on hand. Mike Ganster.
Oh, Coach is going to be there.
So that's just probably only exciting to you and me, but I'm happy. He looks like Ditka.
He does. He's a spitting image of Coach Ditka. Yeah.
All right. So anyway, we're going to Argentina.
We're going to Argentina.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Sorry, now you know my other flaw. Whenever Tim brings up Argentina or the word phenomena, I get a little out of control. I blame the cold medicines I'm on, Tim. I'm loopy. I admit
that's
it.
Fine. There's nothing wrong with that. A woman was arrested for murder and may have sought the assistance from a witch there in Argentina.
Murder? From which?
From a witch. And not a sandwich, Dave. Not a delicious sandwich.
That's ridiculous. That's the way I want to go. Murder by sandwich.
Oh,
maybe a nice chicken parm sandwich.
That would be beautiful. Although I would like to choke on a nice ham and cheese.
If I'm going to choke on anything, it's going to be a a beef and cheddar croissant from Portillo's in Chicago.
How about a nice Maxwell Street Polish?
I'll leave you to choke on the Polish, Tim, while I'm enjoying a nice beef and cheddar.
You can choke on the Polish all day, my friend.
You're going to be in Chicago. There's plenty of Polish to be choking on while we're out there.
Just walk down the street and choose one. Police in the city of Las Harris, Argentina, not Las Vegas, Las Harris, Argentina, try and find a casino there, have uncovered what they believe to be a plot by a woman to murder her ex-husband. Gynecologist Leon Barella, 64, was found shot 4 times in the head and neck in his home on April 15th of this year after neighbors reported observing a man leaving his house after shots were heard. That's probably why, Dave. He was probably trying to examine the wrong patient.
Ouch.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Following an investigation involving wiretaps and other surveillance, authorities raided the home of Barella's widow, Elizabeth Ventura, as well as a longtime friend, Monica Castro, who was apparently involved in the study of parapsychology, as well as other esoteric and occult pursuits. In both homes, police found evidence of spellcasting, charms, and magical notes intended to impede investigation and arrest of Ventura, which includes jars with blood, vinegar, and coarse salt.
Which is great to get spots out of your carpet, Tim.
Oh, it's amazing.
Little vinegar will loosen it up. The blood will seep in and pull out any impurities, and then the salt purifies it, Tim.
That's amazing. That is your cleaning tip from Dave Schrader.
That is quite the cleaning tip from your pals here at Beyond the Darkness.
Which was stored in a freezer that contained macabre messages along with names and images of police personnel. Ooh, that's where it took a wrong turn. That's where the worm turned, Dave. As well as pictures of the chief investigator on the case and notes hoping that she would come to harm in an accident. Ventura was arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to commit murder and Castro as an accomplice. Both women await possible trial as police investigate a motive for the killing.
Yeah, that's a feel-good story, isn't it?
That is. That's one that'll just warm your heart.
Yeah, that'll be part of Evita Part 2.
Evita Part 2.
Witches of Argentina.
Witches
Evita Part 2. Back from the grave.
Back from the grave.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more to share. Supernatural news and your stories right here on Beyond the Darkness. Hey, if you're looking for a fun way to pass the time while engaging your brain and enjoying breathtaking visuals and a gripping story, your answer is Best Fiends. This game is so much fun. The characters are great. You collect different characters. Each one has a different power and ability that allows you to fix and work your way through the puzzles in the game. I love this game. I play it all the time. Not only do I play it, I've got my wife playing it. My kids play it. When I came back from France, Tim, I spent a lot of time with downtime on the back of the bus or in the plane, and I loved playing Best Fiends. It's a casual game that anybody can play. But let's face it, it's made for adults. You can spend as much or as little time as you like in the game. And I've been doing it for quite a while. I've got a great progression going on. And I play, maybe a total of a couple hours a week. But it's kind of my Zen garden, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
When I break out Best Fiends, I just allow everything else to shut down. And it's me time. I deserve the best for me, and that's what Best Fiends is. It's a great game that's fun. It's challenging. It's full of engaging graphics and good storytelling. Plus, they find ways to engage you in many different ways and reward you handsomely. So make sure you check it out for yourself. Bright colors, visual style, and design of Best Fiends is second to none. You're going to absolutely love this game. And this is a 5-star rated game, Tim. 5-star rated. The characters are fun, interesting, and fascinating with how each one of them work in conjunction with one another to help you beat any challenge. Plus, they've got challenging and fun puzzles to work on. I would severely suggest, if you're looking for a good game, trust me on this. Plus, it's right in our wheelhouse. We talk about phantoms and fiends all the time. Now you can take the fiends with you. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to engage your brain with fun puzzles, collect tons of cool characters on a 5-star rated mobile puzzle game that's on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store right now. You can download free at the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Free! A free game that engages you, entertains you, and enlightens you. That's Friends without the R. Best Fiends. Fiends. Go get one right now. Let us know where you're going. And if you share it, you can actually see the progression. And maybe, just maybe, if you're good enough, you'll catch up to Tim and I, and you'll see us on the game. Go check it out right now. Best Fiends. Hey, folks, as always, a big thank you for listening to our show. We'd like to ask you a small but very important favor from all of you. It'll only take a few minutes, and if you're one of the first people to do it, Podcast One will make it worth your time. Literally. We need you to complete a short survey because the information you give us can help make things better for the show and you as a listener. Just go to podcastone.com/survey and everything will be right there for you. That's podcastone.com/survey. The first 250 people who complete the survey will get a $10 gift card to Amazon.com. And 2 grand prize winners will be selected at random to get a $100 Amazon gift card. How about that? Free money. It's a win-win. Our shows are supported by advertisers, so filling this out will really help us cater to needs of you as the listener. So please go to podcastone.com/survey. Answer a few questions, and potentially make some money along the way. Thank you for being a very dedicated listener to your friends here at Beyond the Darkness.
Beyond the Darkness.
Welcome back to the program. This is Beyond the Darkness, your home for the best in paranormal talk radio every weekend. And remember, we also do a true crime podcast every Tuesday. Please sign up. Support your pals, Dave and Tim. $5 a month gives you all of those great episodes of True Crime Tuesday. You can subscribe and never miss another minute in the best in true crime talk radio. And did you know that by supporting that show, you're supporting this show? That's right. The money that we collect on that helps to keep our hands free so we can continue to bring you the best in paranormal talk radio every weekend here on Beyond the Darkness. 2 separate entities, but one great price. $5 a month gets you all of the episodes of True Crime Tuesday, going back to the first one since we made this change. So there's how many episodes do we have over there now, Tim?
There's actually 135.
135 episodes of True Crime Tuesday. That's unbelievable. Go check it out. Subscribe right now. How do you do that? You can go to patreon.com, patreon.com/True Crime Tuesday, all one word. That's patreon.com/True Crime Tuesday. Subscribe now and help your buddies out. $5 a month gets you every brand new episode and access to all of the archives. Every stinking episode available in one place for you. It's kind of a little gift from your buddies Dave and Tim at just $5. It's a hell of a deal. And this show remains free for you as well. So keep tuning in to the best in paranormal talk radio every weekend. Where are we going next in the world of supernatural news, Tim?
We are headed off to a mansion that has some paranormal experiences. How about that? How about them apples?
Seems like the right show to do that on.
Yeah, it does. It says here that Roberson's executive director, shares his paranormal experiences in the mansion. I don't know what a Roberson is, and I don't know where this mansion is. But hey, let's play along, shall we?
Oh, it's an audio daily double, Tim. It's been a while since we've had one of these.
Yeah, it is. Let's play along and play the clip, shall we?
Yes, we shall.
Roberson is also offering haunted mansion tours, not haunted house related, but haunted mansion tours every Friday and most Saturdays during October. Reserving a space and coming early is probably a good idea because they tend to be very popular. But it's our way of taking people through the historic home here and talking about some of the odd experiences that have been recorded over the years in the building. I myself have had an unusual experience that I was not able to easily explain here in the Roberson Mansion late at night. And there are a lot of stories like that. So we are taking these tours to show the history of the building, but also to explain kind of some of the oddities that have been reported during our time here. Can you tell me what your experience was? I can. During Home for the Holidays in 2018, my family and I were setting up upstairs what was affectionately known as the Wizarding Room. We were here. Awesome, by the way. Thank you. It was getting kind of late. It was around 11 o'clock at night, and everyone from the museum staff had gone except for me and my family that was working on the exhibition upstairs. And very clearly, we heard a gentleman clear his throat from the bottom of the stairs. Clear as day. And it was an obvious reminder that it was time for us to leave, and I quickly ushered everyone out. I try not to infringe on the Robersons' time, which I consider not while we're open to the public.
Well, man, it was okay. I mean, not fantastic as the story of the paranormal goes. I mean, so it's somebody ghostly clearing their throat, but it's still ghosty, I guess, if that's what you're going for. Not one of the best stories, not like the good stories we get on this show from our listeners, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
When they call in the Voices from Beyond voicemail, which is 651-300-4977. That's the number you can call. Don't try Tim at his number at 612.
No, don't.
Well, that's what I'm just telling him. Don't call that number, because it's better if you call the Voices from Beyond voicemail, which is 651-300-4977, because Tim doesn't like when you call 612.
No, don't give it.
But how are they going to know which one not to call, Tim?
Just don't give the number at all. Just give the number for the Voices from Beyond line, and then they'll know which number to definitely call.
I'll try to retrain my mind while you guys listen to this next call.
Hi, Dave and Tim. My name is Mary, and I live in California. And here's my story. About 10 years ago, my husband Mike and I, we had been living in California for about 10 years, and his father passed away, and he had a house in Iowa that he wanted to go and go visit there and stay there and redo the house and maybe rent it out. So he took off for about 6 months, and he went to Iowa, and I was left alone in California. And one day I came home from work, and I had some chore to do, so my mind was focused on getting this chore done. So I went in the house and rushed to the back of the house where the bedroom is, and I opened the door to the bedroom, and my husband, who was supposed to be in Iowa, was sitting on the bed in California. And I was just so shocked to see him. And when I came in, he looked up at me, he smiled, and I started to say, "What are you doing here?" And I got to the word doing, and he was vanished. Everything, it was just like he'd never been there. So, needless to say, it just was I was in a state of shock, because I sure as heck saw something and looked exactly like him. And I should point out that I don't do drugs, I don't have medications, I don't drink, I don't smoke. As far as I know, I don't have a mental illness. So I don't know what that was. You know, I asked him about it later, and he has no recollection of anything weird going on his end. So I don't know, a glitch in the matrix or some type of thought form. I don't know, but I wasn't even thinking of him at the time that I saw him. And it was in the middle. At the end of the day, and I was on my feet. I mean, it wasn't like I was dreaming or anything, so I don't know what that was all about. Anyway, there's my story. I'm a little shy. It's hard for me to make calls like this, but when Dave promised a bare-chested hug from Tim Dennis, I thought, I got to do this. So anyway, I absolutely love you guys. Appreciate you so much for all you do, and anyway, love you both. Bye.
Hey, Dave and Tim, this is Charles in Utah, and I have a great story for you, a paranormal story about my family. This story was told to me by my grandmother. Originally happened to her grandmother, which would be my great-great-grandmother. My great-great-grandmother lived with her family in a mill camp in western North Carolina. A mill camp is a situation where all the employees of the mill live in small shack homes that are supplied by the mill, very rudimentary homes, just a couple bedrooms, no windows, all of the bedrooms and the doors have skeleton key locks. So, supposedly my great-great-grandfather, her brother, stole vegetables from the garden of a witch one fall afternoon. And the witch yelled at him that she would find a way to deal with him that evening. So when he returned home, his parents had gotten word of this. They locked him in his bedroom, partially as a punishment and partially for his own safety. Again, this was a bedroom with a skeleton key lock that locked from the outside. So they locked him in, and they stayed up all night in the main room where the only door leaving the house was to ensure that nothing happened. Later that evening, they heard a little bit of noise, but they just thought it was him moving around in the bedroom, so they didn't think anything of it. The next morning at dawn, they go in, and he is covered in cuts, and he has briars and thorns sticking out of almost every part of his body. I asked him what happened, and he swore that the witch somehow poured herself through the keyhole into his bedroom, somehow magically took him out of the house, turned him into a donkey, and rode him through the briar patch of her garden all night long, and then returned him just before dawn, which is where his parents found him, covered in blood and thorns, with supposedly no way out of the room. So, who knows if it's true, but I always love the story. Hope you enjoy.
Well, speaking of calls, that was a good call. How did our calls go last week, Tim, in the NFL Weekly Pick'em Charity Contest for betonline.ag? How did we do, Tim? Tim, how did our picks go, Tim? I turned it over to you because you are a great, brilliant football mind, Tim. How did we do? I'm curious how much we destroyed every other Podcast One team with our amazing picks. How many did we get right on that one, Tim?
The NFL's rigged, Dave.
What?
It's rigged. It's rigged. In fact, I'm going to go on another little mini rant here for a second, Dave. I picked some immaculate picks. Immaculate picks, Dave. Sure. Beautiful picks. Our president would say beautiful. Beautiful. It's a perfect. It was a perfect pick. Perfect picks, Dave. Much like he had a perfect phone call with the Ukraine, I made perfect picks. Perfect picks, Dave. But you know what?
What?
We have crooked referees. We have Vegas. You want to hear an interesting story, Dave? And I was. Is this
conspiratorial, so it fits in today's program?
Yes, it is. It's okay. Exactly. You nailed it, buddy. You nailed it. I'm going to tell you a little story.
Unlike your football picks, I nailed it.
Let's not get facetious here. All right. I'm going to tell you a little interesting story about Twitter. I'm on the twatting machine here, and I'm talking to one of our listeners. Okay, and I'm pulling it up right here so I can tell you exactly. I won't tell you who I'm talking to.
Is this another listener who's hoping you'll inseminate her and she can carry the products of your loins?
No, we'll just call him Carl. Okay, it's
Carl.
It's not his name. I could give you what the listener's name is, but I don't want to.
Let's not. Go ahead.
I'll just call him Carl. So Carl and I are going back and forth on Twitter, and we're pretty much agreeing that, you know what, something's not right in Denmark with the way that the NFL games go. And we're talking about the week that was in football. And we're agreeing with each other, specifically like the Kansas City game, the Texans and Kansas City game, which is one of the games we picked. Now, in that game, the Kansas City Chiefs are pretty much leading throughout most of the game. But then all of a sudden, they can't score a point in the third and fourth quarters. Why? Unusual, right?
I think it's because people have finally figured out Mahomes' numbers. That's what it is. They're going to start picking apart the greatest quarterback in the last 5 years. And it also has to do with the Madden curse, by the way.
And
if you're on the new Madden 2019 game, things are going hell quick.
I don't think so. Here's what I brought up, Dave. And here's exactly what I brought up. And mysteriously, something happened on my Twitter timeline that will freak you the F out. And I'm telling you right now, it will freak you out. Okay. So we're going back and forth. And I tell Carl, on my Twitter timeline, I say to him, and this is the exact quote I said. I tell Carl, completely rigged. The Chiefs game was the game I was talking about where they did the computer simulations and the Chiefs won 70% of the time. How does a team look like world beaters one week and they can't tie their shoes the next? Come on. Vegas is controlling the odds on this. I tell him that. Now, I don't say at Vegas. I don't quote, or I don't at any of the sports books. I don't target anybody to tip anybody off that would like that status. I get liked by someone named the Vegas Guru, who is a VIP host, promoter, and event organizer in Las Vegas.
Dun, dun, dun.
Tell me how, Dave. How? I didn't add
that you are half of the team of one of the most popular paranormal radio shows in the planet, and maybe it just so happens that even Vegas, you pick'ems, listen to the show and love you, Tim.
Dave, I don't know. I'm talking about how games are rigged in Vegas, and all of a sudden this guy comes along who has something to do with a sports book, and he likes what I say about games being rigged in Vegas? Come on.
That's a conspiracy. So let's get back to it. How many of the picks of the 5 picks did we win, Tim?
We won 3, we lost 2.
Well, that's not horrible, Tim.
That's not horrible.
It's better than 50%. Psychically, that's not a bad place to be.
That's not a bad place to be, right?
Well, we're in week 7 now, and we have 5 new games to pick. We have to let our listeners know, because this is cool. This is our 5 picks. And remember, if and when we ever win a week and we win all of the points, then we'll have $500 to give away to our listeners that are also using the betonline.ag program. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be in that, go make a bet now. Maybe the safest bet is to look at whatever Tim and I are betting on and bet the opposite. And that might make you hella money. So go check it out and sign up for it. There's also a $5,000 season-long charity that we have going on. And, we've been up against, some great people in this podcast realm, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Adam Carolla, so many other greats that the Dogman Debate and such, who are making predictions as well. And we're not so far removed from many of them.
No.
But,
we're right in there.
It's a great time, and you get to play along and have fun with us. They have NFL, college football, and now MLB playoff action. That all heats up this week with games that you're not going to want to miss out on. You can visit our good friends and our exclusive partner at Podcast One, betonline.ag, to take advantage of the best bonuses in the business. Sign up for a free account. Did you hear that, Tim? A free account.
Yep.
Make sure to use the promo code PODCAST1, PODCASTONE, all one word. Use the promo code PODCAST1 for a 50% sign-up bonus. All right, there's some big matchups this week. Lots going on. You got Oakland at Green Bay, Minnesota at Detroit, New Orleans at Chicago, Baltimore and Seattle, Philly at Dallas. You got a lot of cool stuff going on in your college football week. Michigan at Penn State, Arizona at Utah, Oregon at Washington, LSU at Miss State, and Texas A&M at Ole Miss, plus the MLB playoff second round. Visit betonline.ag and don't forget to use that promo code podcast1 for your 50% sign-up bonus. Tim, what are our picks quickly for this week?
All right, well, closed circuit first to Andrew Balzerini, who gave us crap about picking their Seahawks once, or picking his Seahawks once.
Right.
The one time we picked them, they suffered their only loss of the season. I left you alone this week. You're welcome, Andrew, because that was one of the games I wanted to pick this week, Ravens and Seahawks, which
Ravens would have won, I'm just saying.
Wow, really? Because Seahawks are at home. We would have picked the Seahawks.
Yeah,
be honest with you. I would have picked the Seahawks just to lose. Actually, first game is Dolphins at Bills. I think it's pretty obvious the Bills win this one.
I agree. Yep. I agree. What's our second game?
Second game, here we go. Packers fans, it's your turn to lose. Just kidding. Raiders at Packers. The Packers have been red hot lately. The Green Bay Packers will pull one out at home. Count on the Packers to win this weekend. So we're picking the Bills. We're picking the Packers. Our next game is the 49ers at the Redskins. Even though the Redskins got their first win this weekend, or this past weekend, the 49ers will win in that matchup. 49ers and Redskins. Pick the 49ers this weekend. So Bills, Packers, 49ers. Dave, prepare to cringe. I cringed at this next pick.
Don't you do it.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it, buddy.
Don't you do it, you son of a bitch. Don't you do it.
I'm sorry. And I'm sorry, Minnesota fans. I'm sorry, Vikings fans. I'm one myself. But even though the Minnesota Vikings have been on a 2-game winning streak, things are going to fall apart at Winter Park this weekend. Minnesota Vikings are at the Detroit Lions. Matt Patricia has this team playing different. There's a different culture in Detroit. And unfortunately, our Minnesota Vikings are going to fall to the Detroit Lions. Yes, I said it.
I call shenanigans! I'm against this pick, folks. Just bet on my side. The Vikings are going to destroy the kitty cats. They are going to put those little kitties out the window like Fred Flintstone.
Had it not been for crooked referees in the Packers-Lions game this last Sunday, or last Monday night, rather, this last Monday, the Detroit Lions would have beaten the Green Bay Packers at Green Bay.
That's a lot of would have, could have.
I'm telling you,
if Favre was playing, they probably would have won too. Who knows?
At home,
I can't believe you're taking the Lions over the Vikings.
At home, the Lions will, and the Vikings are only a 1.5-point favorite going into Detroit, which essentially, and you remember the performance that the Vikings put up in Soldier Field. They folded like a cheap tent. They're going to fold like
they were luring their opponents in.
They're going to fold like
a false sense of security.
They're going to fold like a cheap tent in Ford Field.
Bet my way. Go Vikings 33-10.
Oh, my God.
That's my call. I'm calling it.
You're high on cold medicine. Officially.
So you picked the Lions. What's their last game?
Picked the Lions on that one. The lock was actually the Bills. The Bills were the lock of the week, 17-6. The Bills and Dolphins.
Game?
Final one is, you may think is a bit of a shock, but it's really not. They're coming into their own, and they're playing a terrible team. The Arizona Cardinals are taking that trip all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast and taking on the New York Giants in the Meadowlands, or the old Meadowlands. It's now a different stadium, but the New York Giants are going to get a win this week against a team that travels terribly to the East Coast in the Arizona Cardinals. Mark it, folks. Daniel Jones gets a win at quarterback. The New York Giants are your 5th and final pick for this week. So again, here are your list this week of picks. If you want to follow along with us and win this week, the Bills are a lock, 17-6. The Packers win this week. The 49ers win this week. The Lions beat the Minnesota Vikings at home. And the Giants get a win over the Arizona Cardinals. There you go. Those are your picks.
Although Tim and I can no longer be friends, you can still be my friend by going to betonline.ag. Don't forget the promo code podcast1 for your 50% sign-up bonus. betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. Where are we off to next in the world of supernatural news, Tim?
Well, we go to Scotland, Dave.
Scotland, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Are we heading to the Loch, Lassie?
We are. Scotland's spookiest property is up for sale after residents report ghost sightings and paranormal activity. No sea monsters in your bed, though. Surprisingly. The ghost sightings are that of Lady Marion Carruthers, who mysteriously fell from one of the castle windows in 1570. Blamed it on high heels, evidently. The too big of high heels.
Happens to me every time I wear them. I fall out windows left and right.
You're amazingly resilient. I'll just say that right now. A 6-bedroom former couch house, deemed Scotland's spookiest property, is up for sale. But
is it a couch house or a coach house?
It says couch, C-O-U-C-H, couch
it's
house.
Supposed to be coach house, but anyway.
Is it coach house? All right, it's a former coach house. But it says couch here, the damn Daily Record. Just saying. But we'll call it a coach house. Deemed Scotland's spookiest property is up for sale, but are you brave enough to live in it? Residents of the property, which is in the grounds of Comlingon Castle in Dumfries, have reported several ghostly sightings and caught paranormal activity on camera. The ghost sightings are that of Lady Marion Carruthers, who mysteriously fell from one of the castle windows in 1570. Since her death, grass does not grow on the spot where Lady Carruthers tragically died. I don't mean to laugh at that. I don't know why that seems funny to me, but it does. There's also been multiple reports of locals seeing the apparition of a woman around the castle, and often the sound of crying can be heard from within. Despite its spooky history, this property is undeniably, if not hauntingly, beautiful. The family home is situated in the castle's private gardens and features a tranquil garden pond. There is ample amounts of space with 6 bedrooms and 3 to 4. It says 3 to 4 reception rooms and 3 bathrooms. It also has an elevated dining room with a feature window that provides access to the barn conversion. This mysterious home is bursting with character and is furnished with contemporary touches throughout. In addition to now it says coach house. They misspelled it in the article. Great journalism, by the way, Daily Record. In addition to the coach house, there is multiple outbuildings on the grounds, providing the owner with endless possibilities for their use. They need an editor at the Daily Record. With its haunted history, this creepy coach house is likely to become an attraction for those ghost hunters with a penchant for spooky stories. On the market for offers over £450,000. You can view the property on dailyrecord.co.uk. They're now hiring for an editor, so go ahead and apply there.
Maybe Zach Bagan should buy that property.
Maybe. Evidently, he's got the cash. If he's looking for Gacy's brain, he could go get a coach or a couch house, according to Daily Record. So you go.
Ye old couch house?
Yeah, ye old couch house there.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I guess that's a thought. Yeah. Hey there, guys. My name is Rebecca Finnegan. I'm 27 years old, and I live in Plainfield, Illinois. I just listened to your interview with Kyle on Beyond the Darkness podcast, and I was shocked to hear you guys talking about people's experiences of the Hat Man or shadow people. I've experienced a shadow-type person in the night several times since I was a little girl. The first time I remember seeing the shadow thing was when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My sister and I shared a bedroom, and at the time, she would sleep on the top bunk, and I was on the bottom. I remember waking up crying because I thought she was standing by the door trying to scare me. I kept saying, Catherine, stop it. Stop it, Catherine. Whatever it was kept coming closer and closer to me. And I just thought it was her being a mean older sister trying to scare me. My mom ended up coming in the room when she heard me crying. And as she opened the door, the shadow disappeared. And I was really confused. I said that I thought Catherine was trying to scare me. And my mom said, no, she's sleeping right here. I've never been able to figure out what that was, and I never told my family about it. I've told my husband, but he is such a skeptic. He always explains away my experiences. He says I'm just dreaming. Another experience I had was at my old house my husband and I lived in. I actually had several paranormal experiences at that house. Honestly, I'd much rather talk about these experiences over the phone. Ooh, all right. Well, maybe we'll give you a little call, Rebecca. And Rebecca, I think it's time you leave your husband and marry Tim and let him sire your squires.
Yeah, let's have some babies.
Let's have some babies. Tim will believe everything you have to say.
I will, yeah.
If there are McRibs in the house and babies in the oven, he will be a happy man. So Rebecca Finnegan, email him, tim@darknessradio.com.
There you go.
To start your family planning and McRib orders right now. Rebecca, I'll tell you what, we're going to give you a call. We're going to, not right now, but we're going to give you a call. We're going to put you on the air on an upcoming episode. How does that sound? Pretty exciting. Then you can talk to your future Mr. Tim Dennis. All right, where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
We're headed off to Grimsby, where pictures of ghost children captured in rotting abandoned school on a tablet. That's what it says here in abbreviations. Right. Paranormal investigators are ventured into the rotting educational offices and art college in Grimsby and came away with 2 supernatural shots. 2 paranormal investigators ventured into an abandoned schoolhouse and came away with shots that they believe show ghost children in action. What kind of action, though? Are they like running? Are they jumping?
Probably, yeah, being kids, you know.
All right. The 2 ghost hunters, Graham and Tara, ventured into the rotting educational offices and art college in Grimsby and came away with 2 supernatural pictures. The first, taken by Graham, is said to show 3 or 4 children hiding behind a wall while another child walks towards them. The photo of the 3 or 4 children was my first paranormal picture, Graham said. It was only taken on a Samsung tablet on night camera mode. It was taken in the old art college on Eleanor Street. He said it all started off with a laugh, or Azalaf rather, and he didn't notice anything out of the ordinary until looking back at his photographs the next morning. He added, "We took pictures with the lights on and lights off. We were just messing around and I was taking a load of pictures. I woke up the next morning and had a look at what I had taken. I was really taken aback by what I saw. I've been into the paranormal since being a child. I am no longer scared of it. I thrive on it, to be honest. When zoomed in, you can see facial features of the first boy. He's sitting down besides 3 or 4 others, cross-legged and with his right arm to his right knee. You can see more on the boy standing up. His facial features are more clearer. These were taken somewhere near the old swimming pool." The second photograph, taken by Tara, is said to show a figure in full spectrum near the swimming pool area. Graham said, "My partner took this image, which is in full spectrum, in the same location. It was taken further away and is harder to make out." And that's the end of that story. There you go.
All right. Well, it just so happens we have another story from one of our callers. A third call, Tim. I like this, the hat trick.
Yeah.
651-300-4977. That's a number to call, just like this caller did.
Hey, Dave and Tim. This is Tyler from Quincy, Illinois again. I have an interesting story this time that actually just recently happened. Our family and I, we go to a place called Harvestville Farms, about an hour away, Iowa, every year around Halloween or like in October. This year we were there and we ended up being witness to a fatal car crash right in front of the farm. Thank God my kids didn't see the crash happen, but it was kind of crazy how you could just feel, even before we knew it was a fatal car crash, it just did not feel right. And it was crazy that there's probably 300 people at this farm, you could just feel the crowd in a sense of just disgusting, dread, nasty feeling that I've never felt before. It was like somebody was taking my stomach and twisting on it. And I mean, even my wife, who doesn't believe in this kind of stuff, she immediately felt sick when we watched this vehicle roll. This farm had anywhere between 200 and 300 people at it, tons of children. That wreck was witnessed by a lot of kids, and it was very bad. Like I said, the driver didn't have a seatbelt on. So you can only imagine what it looked like rolling with, how bad that could be. He had a passenger in his vehicle, and he also clipped a car that had a child and a family in it. The child and the family is okay. His passenger was airlifted. So that feeling of guilt, we thought of, we got that feeling because he felt so guilty that not only did he die and leave his family behind, and he injured his passenger, but he also hit a car full of kids, and they had to go to the hospital with minor injuries. And it was just the craziest. So that's not the whole story. My mom, as I stated in a previous call, is a medium. I asked her, if she was getting anything off it. She's like, "No, I'm turned off." She's like, "I don't want any part of this." And that night, she had a crazy dream. And every time she would wake up from this dream, even though she's a medium, she's clairaudient. She's not clairvoyant nor sentient. She doesn't see anything usually. Every time she woke up from this dream, she would see a shadow person standing in her doorway, and it freaked her the hell out. But in this dream, basically, a woman was trying to break into her house, and she shot her. And she was overcome by this enormous guilt, a feeling that seemed familiar. And what we ended up finding out was it was the same feeling we were feeling after that car crash, thinking that we were picking up on the person that passed away, his guilt of the whole thing. Because what ended up happening was he wasn't paying attention, and someone was turning into the farm, and he almost rear-ended them, veered off into the ditch, and rolled his car. without a seatbelt on. So I just thought that was very interesting because when we think back on it, what was crazy about it is it was a feeling of pure guilt continuing off my last film. But anyway, I thought I'd give that because today is Tuesday. This is my Darkness Radio listening day. And this happened on Sunday. But other than my past things, that shadow person, she ended up telling me that she's only seen that once in her life, which was ironic because there was one time in my childhood that I saw the same shadow figure on a door at our house when we lived in Manhattan, Illinois. Other than that, my things I've called in the past about lights going off in my house, that's still an ongoing thing. But Dave, the Holzer Files, was really good. I'm not usually a fan of those paranormal shows, even though I really like the aspect of paranormal. Some of those shows get a little scripted for me, but your show was awesome. I didn't catch Salem Live, but I hope to catch it here soon. You guys keep up the good work. On the Rocks with Mally Fox. Hope to see that. More of that. And Tim, you're awesome as well. And you guys have a good day. Thanks. Bye.
Another good one. Keep them coming, folks. 651-300-4977. Here's another virtual hug from Tim and Dave. Thank you for sending along your stories and sharing them with us. And if you just want to email them in because you'd rather hear my raspy Kim Carnes voice read these stories, you can email them to me at dave@darknessradio.com. It's so weird because in my head I just sound, because I'm so congested, I just sound like I'm talking through a pillow. Is there much of a change in my actual voice from normal?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, there is.
Am I coming in at a lower register, Tim?
That's for more lurch right there, what you just did.
You rang.
Yeah, that's lurch
right
there.
Interesting. Am I getting closer to Jesse Ventura's voice?
There you are, yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we going next in the world of supernatural news?
We're headed back over the pond to Buckley.
Buckley, you say?
I don't know why I said it that way, but Buckley. The moment a ghost was caught on camera at Buckley's Tivoli venue. The spooky moment happened when a ghost was caught on camera at a popular Flintshire music venue. I know they love it when I go Shire over there. They just go nuts. They tear their ears out over there. The ghostly encounter occurred at the Tivoli in Buckley at 10:23 a.m. on Tuesday, October 8th. A CCTV clip on the floor above the venue's stage captures a mysterious white figure dart across the screen and veer off camera. The venue has been a hive of reported paranormal activity and is said to be haunted by the ghost of a sinister old man. This led to a visit from television's Most Haunted in 2015, and you can see for yourself if the Tivoli is truly haunted at an event. Evidently this November, Dave, on Friday, November 15th, the venue is hosting a ghost hunt with doors opening from 7 p.m. through to 1 a.m. on Saturday. You can take your camera, your flashlight, and see for yourself what is lurking in the shadows. They're pricing tickets at $25 for that event. So there you go.
Only $25. And folks, I'd like to tell you, Tim and I will be there ghost hunting with you.
Really?
But I can't. No, I'd like to tell you that, but we weren't invited.
No.
And if we were there, we'd have been bringing in the big bucks. We'd have been asking for $30 a ticket, Tim.
Yeah, probably.
Because man got to eat. Man got to eat, Tim.
That's true, yes.
Man's going to eat some McRibs all weekend long.
Yep.
Through Wisconsin and Illinois, they know how to treat a man.
We're going to bleed
Minnesota's
barbecue
become
sauce.
a cold-hearted lover to me, Tim. It refuses to give me what I want, the McRib sandwich. So I will dally, if you will, in another state or two and eat amongst their tribes.
There's a comedian that put it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, this comedian was talking about spicy nuggets at Wendy's.
Okay.
And they're like, we brought it back. There's spicy nuggets. It's like, what's the big deal? You were making them anyways. All you did was just put them back in your store. It's not a big deal. Just bring back the McRib. It's two stores, McDonald's. Put one in the North Metro. Put one in the South Metro.
Not even that. You know what I don't understand is how many crap things are on their menu that are there all the time?
Right.
How about just giving us the damn McRib? We started off sweet and filled with love, Tim.
Yeah.
Now we're becoming bitter old men by the end of this episode. We're no longer nice. We're angry because we don't have things our way. The McRib sandwich should be in my belly.
Well, and
but it isn't.
What's wrong with, they bring it out for like 2 months. What's wrong with 6 months? Just take it off the menu for 6 months and bring it back for 6 months. What's wrong with half a year?
I agree. All right. Where are we off to next in the world of supernatural news?
Well, according to this, and I take it this is over yonder again, the Department of Internal Affairs over yonder says we need Ghostbusters. They say their building is haunted by a specter in the basement. Ghosts have apparently infiltrated the Department of Internal Affairs with an online staff forum discussing the haunting, complete with photographic evidence. Numerous staff members have described paranormal activity and specters haunting the DIA government buildings in an internal work forum. I think, wasn't this in New Zealand? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. The discussion of which has been obtained via an official Information Act or an OIA request. Some may be forgiven for thinking staff had been watching too much Wellington Paranormal, the popular TVNZ2 comedy show's second season airs this week over in New Zealand, as staff described strange unexplained occurrences, calling the Ghostbusters and having the heebie-jeebies, that's what it says in the article. Of particular concern during the July discussion was the infamous ghost in the basement of the Wellington Archives. As the lift starts to move, the number on the floor counter inside the lift flickers and the door opens on the lower level 1. No one is there and it is dark, and you either stand there unsure of what to do or mash the closed door button before something gets in. This according to a spook staff member, what they posted on the forum. The doors close and then you continue to your desired floor. Another staff member pointed out that this was probably just a malfunctioning lift, but others were not so gullible. Evidence of a specter on level 13 was also exposed. It stared at me just long enough for me to take a quick photo, another staff member went and posted. It is eerily clear, but not for the easily scared. PM me if you'd like to see it for yourself. The staff member then posts the photograph to the forum. However, the image was withheld in the official information document. The DIA confirmed the staff member who posted the alleged specter photograph is no longer working for the department. Surprise, surprise. It is unclear whether the specter had anything to do with the staff member's exit from the DIA or whether they are alive and well. They took them out for posting a ghost photograph. What I want to know is how these entities are getting into DIA buildings without identity cards. What are security and property doing about it? Another staff member bemoaned. When asked about what measures it had taken to examine and or alleviate a potential paranormal situation, DIA admitted it had done little to crack down on the ghouls. There is nothing in place to deal specifically with the issue. It said if it arose, we would work through this like any other issue and liaise with the appropriate groups. There you go. That's the official statement from DIA.
Wow, New Zealand, what are you up to? My gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we off to next?
To Netflix, where a haunted Netflix series recreates a demon attack on a Marine in Afghanistan, but is it a true story? That's the question that's being asked. On Haunted, real people tell their stories of encounters with the supernatural, with reenactments punctuating the terrors they describe having experienced. The second season of Haunted premiered on Netflix on October 11th, with 6 more stories of hauntings, spectral voices, and cult abuse. In the episode Demon of War, a U.S. Marine recounts a terrifying confrontation with a demon in an Afghan graveyard. And the question is, could there be any truth to the outlandish encounter? War is hell, but I never thought I'd experience something like this, a U.S. Marine identified only as Rick says at the beginning of Demon of War before describing his deployment to Afghanistan and repeated combat engagements with Taliban forces. But when Rick is sent to a posting in the Bakwa district of Afghanistan, he runs into more than just Afghani soldiers. I thought the worst was over, but I had no idea what was coming, Rick says. Posted to a graveyard with hundreds and hundreds of bodies, Rick is assigned midnight watch duty. Several hours into his watch, still very, very much awake, a rock crashed into the window, or crashed against the window, rather, of their hilltop watch post, followed by a shuffling, skittering sound outside. Rick reached out to his commanding officer, identified only as Staff Sergeant Bravo on Haunted. At that point, I'm just like, maybe there's something out there, Bravo says. And that's when we talked about him going out and popping the flare. Rick, played by Sammy Moore in the recreation, lights a flare and walks out between the rough-hewn gravestones. Something is rustling as if it's circling him. Shortly after the flare goes out, Rick is surprised from behind by a nightmarish creature. There's these giant...
Nobody likes to be surprised from behind by a demonic creature, Tim.
or just surprised from behind in general. There's these giant big red eyes like burning through me, Rick says, describing the creature as his wife, mother, and Bravo looks on. I can see the flesh on this demon's face, and it's peeling off. It's ripping off, and the skin's hanging off. Terrifying. I wasn't able to speak. I wasn't able to scream. All I wanted to do was blink because my eyes hurt so bad. I wasn't able to do anything. After all I'd been through, I thought that this demon, he was going to kill me. Snapping out of his paralysis, Rick ran back to the command center without looking over his shoulder. I'd never had a Marine come to me and express this kind of story, especially with the detail and the physical distress that comes with it, but I trusted this Marine, Bravo says on Haunted. I have absolutely no doubt that it was real. The demon haunted Rick, reappearing in the middle of the night after he had returned to the United States, as if warning the Marine to not redeploy to Afghanistan. You can feel that he enjoyed it. He wanted me to be petrified of him. Waking me up and showing his presence may have been his way of saying you're not welcome, Rick says. Towards the end of the episode, I know if he does come back, he's going to come back with a vengeance. But the question is the story true? Potentially verifiable details are largely absent from the episode. Rather than presenting strictly documentary facts, Haunted put its emphasis on the telling of creepy stories. Still, each episode opens with the straightforward claim the following is a true story. This lack of documentary details has drawn criticism to the series before, particularly in Haunted's first season, when the episode Slaughterhouse describes serial murders in upstate New York, whose crimes were stubbornly immune to fact-checking efforts from viewers and journalists. In Slaughterhouse, a woman named Terrelyn describes her parents bringing home strangers, then killing them. From the scant details, Mashable did its best to track down the true story in 2018, reaching out to New York State Police, Haunted producers, and Netflix in an effort to verify the shocking cold cases, and they came up with nothing. But Haunted executive producer Brett Patrick Jenkins insisted that the story is true. Slaughterhouse is real, Jenkins said on Twitter. It's too much to explain over Twitter, but the truth is there. The powers that be know, and it's more shocking than you saw on the show. If I say anything else, I could get people in trouble, and I'm not willing to do that now. Jenkins went on to claim the stories on Haunted are verified on multiple levels. Newsweek has reached out to Jenkins and the Haunted production company with questions about the verification process for Demon of War, but didn't hear back in time for the publication of their article. While the far-fetched Slaughterhouse had many on social media accusing Haunted of outright fabricating the stories, that doesn't seem to be the case with Demon of War. The episode instead originated with a post to Reddit's Paranormal, described as a community to discuss and share true paranormal or personal paranormal experiences. In March, a user posted Haunted by a Demon, story 1 of 3 encounters, subsequently updating with additional details. The story tracks closely with Demon of War, right down to the emphasis on the pain Rick felt being unable to blink. The same user later reposted the story in response to a thread by a verified Haunted producer requesting first-person experiences for Season 2 of the Netflix series. Rick's original version of the story has several elements not included in the episode, including a more detailed description of the demon, which he described as at least 11 feet tall with 12 horns coming out of its face and shoulders. He had craters in his face that bugs would crawl out of and into, Rick described in his original telling. His arms were roughly 4 feet long, and his hands were giant finger claws. Identifying himself as a sergeant in the Marines, Rick described the vetting process to Newsweek, messaging via the same account he used to post the original story to Reddit, which bears a photograph of Rick, identifying him as the same man who tells the story in the episode of Haunted. According to Rick, Haunted put him through a rigorous vetting process. I went through an entire screening process, Rick told Newsweek, including a full background check, internet vetting, and countless interviews. I'm still active duty, so I had to get approval to be filmed, and it was quite a long process. In his Reddit posts, Rick describes additional encounters with the demon after first seeing it in 2009, including during a training exercise in the Mojave Desert when the demon woke him from his cot at the same time of night he first encountered it in Afghanistan. Rick described his third encounter as similar to sleep paralysis, which many users had offered as a possible explanation for earlier run-ins with the demon, a characterization that Rick rejects in those instances. His final encounter reads more like a vision, with the sun rising between two mountains in the distance and ants pouring from the roots of a tree, even as he dozed on the couch. A similarly profound dream months later led Rick to tattoo the Bible verse Psalms 91:4 on his chest. The tattoo 100% kept the demon at bay for the last 5 years now, Rick told Newsweek, which is why I was comfortable talking about the incidents. Ultimately, there's no way to verify Rick's specific story except to dismiss it on the grounds that demons don't exist, since he is the only witness to the alleged supernatural entity. Haunted seems to thrive in this ambiguous space. Still, the scant details that can be verified ring true, including the old and impressive Islamic cemetery in Bakwa. At the very least, Rick's description of the Haunted vetting process suggests that the series is telling stories claimed to be real rather than writing their own or intentionally playing fast and loose with the facts. The more likely exaggeration in the episode Demon of War instead comes earlier in the episode, with its action movie recreations of combat against faceless Taliban enemies. Hollywood definitely has a way of portraying this story in events, Rick told Newsweek, but that's Hollywood, I suppose, he went on to say. So there you go.
Well, I can't attest for that show, but I can attest for my show, The Holzer Files, Travel Channel, this Thursday, brand new episode, The Devil in Texas. And Tim, this was a really powerful story for Hans Holzer as an investigator. A family contacted him because the son believed that he was possessed, and the family believed that something demonic and dark was taking place. I mean, when you hear this story, Tim, it will literally make your skin crawl, the type of activity that they were having. And there were multiple eyewitnesses. There were apportations, insect infestations, and more. It's really creepy, and it's got a very sad ending. And it turns out that this case starts to mirror a case from one of our listeners who had reached out to me. She was begging for help, trying to get some help because she believed that she too was being influenced by dark forces. And we take our team out there to take what we learned from Hans Holzer's case and apply it here and take it to the next level. And I'm extremely proud of this episode. It's a very personal episode, and you will get introduced to Lydia, who is currently, during the filming of this episode, dealing with some kind of force in her life that seems to be plaguing her. And is she on the precipice of possession? Tune in. You will see one of the most powerful episodes that I think we had a chance to film, and definitely one of the most personal. That's this coming Thursday on the Travel Channel, The Holzer Files. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Check local listings and times in your area to find out when to watch it. They're also replaying the show Friday nights after brand new Ghost Nation, the return of Steve Gonzalez, Dave Tango, and Jason Hawes, and they're replaying the show on Saturday nights after the new episode of Ghost Adventures. So we're out there to find. Tune in, check it out, watch it, help support the Holzer Files. All right, Tim, our final stories here. Where are we going next?
We're going to Burial Hill, Dave, in Plymouth. From sailors buried en masse to devilish imp-like creatures roaming its grounds, one of Plymouth's oldest burial sites is a hotbed of paranormal activity. It's the day after Christmas in 1778, and with a frigid nor'easter setting in, the crew of the Brigantine General Arnold decides to seek refuge in Plymouth Harbor, but soon disaster strikes. The ship runs aground on a sandbar just northwest of the breakwater and begins taking on water. More than 100 sailors, then soldiers in the Revolutionary War, are forced onto the deck where they begin getting pummeled by the waves. Captain James McGee tells the crew to put rum in their shoes to prevent frostbite, but many choose to drink the alcohol instead and start freezing to death. At the same time, the water in Plymouth Bay begins to turn into ice, preventing any locals from coming to rescue. When the townspeople finally reach the ship 2 days later, they find 70 sailors dead, frozen into grotesque forms. Some are clutching the ropes. Others are clutching each other. The bodies are brought ashore and entombed in a 60-foot wide mass grave on Burial Hill at the top of the town. Today, more than 240 years later, some say that the spirits of the soldiers lost that week still roam among the headstones. Burial Hill, where more than 2,500 people are known to be buried underneath the patchy grass, is considered one of the most haunted places on the South Shore. Local investigators head tours of the grounds almost every night, and they've got no shortage of stories to tell. Jeff Campbell has been traversing Burial Hill for the past 6 years, and he said he's had many run-ins with ghosts and spirits there. There's no doubt that the place is haunted, he went on to say. Like that time, he brought a woman who was sensitive to spirits up to the hill, and as soon as she started toward the stairs, she turned around and ran screaming down the street. She told Campbell she had seen a white silhouette lunge at her and screamed to go away. Or there's the time that one of his fellow tour guides encountered a large male figure in deerskin clothing while he was walking up the hill. At first, the guide thought the man might be someone from another tour company. He called out all the names he knew but got no response. Eventually, the figure turned around, and while nothing seemed out of the ordinary at first, the guide quickly realized that it had no eyes. He said, "I told him that's not good," Campbell said, as he was recounting the story. The figure then turned around and walked directly into a light post where he disappeared, Campbell went on to say. The guide ran away shouting and actually passed right through another tour group who then thought that they were the ones seeing something paranormal. Under the cover of night, Burial Hill is certainly a creepy place. Patchwork trails snake around headstones, the oldest of which date to 1681. Many of the stones are in desperate need of repair, having fallen victim to weathering and in some cases vandalism. Several passengers from the pilgrim ship Mayflower are buried there, including William Bradford, Mary Allerton, and William and Mary Brewster. The last burial on the hill took place in 1957. One common creature that haunts Burial Hill is the Pukwudgie. This according to Campbell. According to Wampanoag lore and co-opted by J.K. Rowling of the Harry Potter universe, Pukwudgies are small imp-like creatures that have hairy human features and can appear or disappear at will. Pukwudgies are known for teasing humans, Campbell said, and there have been many times where both he and people on his tours have encountered their generally harmless pranks. They sometimes hiss and go, "Come out and play," he said. What happens most often, though, is that the people on Campbell's tours will catch a glimpse of something spooky out of the corner of their eyes. One time he said he was on Burial Hill with a young couple when all three of them saw a white figure dart by. I looked at them and I said, "You saw that, didn't you?" Campbell said, and they said back, "Yeah, we're not crazy. We saw it. There's definitely stuff up there." If you're interested, Burial Hill has been used to bury Plymouth residents since the 1620s, and you can access Burial Hill off of School Street, and they offer night tours. If you go to PlymouthGhostTours.com, they have tickets for $12 for their ghost tours, $10 for ages 12 and under.
Sounds like a packed weekend if you're looking for fun stuff to do. Speaking of, go check out ChicagoHauntings.com. Coming out and see Tim and I this weekend. We're here all day Saturday and Sunday at the Paranormal Conference that's taking place through Ursula Bielski, Chicago's Queen of the Paranormal. So check it out, ChicagoHauntings.com. There's still some tickets for sale. Tim and I would love to meet with you. That's it for this edition. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the best in Paranormal Talk Radio. That's Tim. I'm Dave. This is Beyond the Darkness.